Yeah. It's the mayor of MAGAville, baby. Hey, you know who we voting for? We voting Donald Trump, baby. America needs saving. America needs saving. We voting Trump, baby. November 5th, we going crazy. November 5th, we going crazy. Red pill poppin', swerving in the Trump. Republican 4G, Antifa knows what's up. Red, white, and blue, MAGA nation, throw it up. Black, white, and brown, all that about Trump. Democrat party gon' take your freedom. Indicting our president cause they can't beat it. It's a two-tier justice system. Put America first, be the big. FJB, FJB. FJB, FJB. FJB, FJB. Let's go, Brandon, sing it. We voting Donald Trump, baby. America needs saving. America needs saving. We voting Trump, baby. November 5th, we going crazy. November 5th, we going crazy. Now I pledge allegiance to vote for Trump. There's a red wave coming, you gon' surf for what? And God I trust to take the devil away. Lock Joe Biden up and throw the key away. Your propaganda ain't gonna work on me. Bidenomics is like you working for free. I demand reparations from every idiot that voted for Joe Biden, boy, period. Period, Sleepy Joe is a fraud. And the bloodbath in the Oval Office. The media is the enemy of the people. The Democrats and the fake news always cheat. FJB, FJB. FJB, FJB. FJB, FJB. Let's go, Brandon, sing it. We voting Donald Trump, baby. America needs saving. America needs saving. We voting Trump, baby. November 5th, we going crazy. November 5th, we going crazy.
Good morning, everybody. I'll tell you what, the culture, the MAGA culture, the Donald Trump culture, it really is something else. You cannot deny. I mean, this man, this titan of the human race. He's really done a lot. Yes, praise Jesus is correct. I'll tell you, it is just absolutely crazy. So we have, there's a lot going on in the world today, as it is, right? We have bombs going off here, bombs going off there. We have Trump indictment yesterday. I mean, a re-indictment. We had a Trump re-indictment yesterday. Absolutely kind of stunning series of events, really, if you ask me. I mean, we have this guy, Jack Smith, and Jack Smith is not confirmed by Congress. So, I mean, I'm here in DC. Okay. I mean, that's the way stuff works, right? You get appointed and then you have to go and Congress or the Senate confirms you. That's the way it works. And this guy, Jack Smith, was never confirmed by Congress. And so actually the Supreme Court, I think not Scalia, the other guy, the black guy, I forget his name. You know what I'm talking about. He brought it up on their last ruling, on the Trump immunity ruling. And then as well, he said, he brought it up. And then as well, we had the Judge Cannon in Florida who also brought it up. This guy is not even confirmed to work in this position as a presidential appointee. That's the way it works. You get a presidential appointee and then you're confirmed by Congress. Now, I see people I did post about it yesterday, and people are like, oh, it doesn't matter, and this and that and the other. And I mean, I think that's a bunch of hogwash. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter my butt. You got to be confirmed by Congress. I know people that are confirmed by Congress. I know people that are to do this stuff that have presidential appointee jobs. I tell you, it's a pretty nice job to have. Okay, you're a pretty respected dude. Trust me, I know them. Okay, but that's the way it works, right? You don't just appoint somebody and then you're not the Gestapo. I mean, I guess we are. That's kind of one of the things I thought about over the last day or two. Was I was like, maybe I got to stop looking at this or I guess it would only. I guess what I was thinking is it would almost be easier if we just took the illusion out of it and we're like, okay, we don't really have a republic democracy or constitutional republic. We have a whatever we have. We have a ruling government. It might be easier for some people to take. We are going to have to fight for our constitutional republic. I'll tell you that. I do not see any way out of this. I do not see us voting our way out of this. I don't see it happening. How do we vote our way out of this? So now they just indicted him again. They sent this guy Jack Smith, who's not even appointed by Congress, sends in the new indictment anyway, and so now he's indicted again. That's going to, I think, of course, go into the term if he gets in. Of course, we have he's going to be sentenced next month, like in just a few weeks. It's the 28th. It's August 28th. It's already August 28th. Unbelievable. So he's going to be sentenced next month to, or not, or his sentencing is next month in New York. I don't think they went through all of this stuff in order just not to sentence him. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy, guys. So if they sentence him, then he's going to jail, right? And if they don't sentence him, they probably made a deal. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. But I think that we need to get our heads around what's going on, and we need to start really operating with each other on a different level, because we need to be really ready for whatever is coming. We need to be ready for whatever's coming. And one of those ways that we can really operate with each other is a lot of times on these fun coins, these fun meme coins and stuff like that. And you saw in my title, okay, the title is Market Moves and Political Shocks Impact Money Show, Navigating the Trump Indictment, Global Market Jitters, and the Rising Tide of Economic Concerns. Is inflation the new normal? Is the financial elite's control tightening? Can we end the Fed? MAGA on ETH launch. So we have this MAGA on ETH launch. I'm going to touch on it real quickly here. It's the first time I worked with these guys. So, first, full disclosure on that. But they seem like they have their stuff together, and they the fun, this stuff is fun. And it's one of the ways that we can work together, right? We need our own money, right? We need to be able to do this. So, hey guys, I know Trump has a lot of solid hype. Trump MAGA OX 0x, I believe is what it is. Okay, that means on Ethereum, is launching. It's launching on Uniswap right now as we speak. On ETH in 6 hours. This was 6 hours ago before I went to sleep. It's my first time working with them. Here is the website here. Pump Trump. Trump is a platform for supporters of the Make America Great movement. We unite those dedicated to American values, economic prosperity, national pride, and offer resourcing and forums to keep MAGA very strong. Now, one of the important things I like to look at is this: if they're well funded. They do seem to be fairly well funded, which is important. You can audit you have an audit right there on CoinMarketCap. Let's look at that. That is not on CoinMarketCap. That is a contract audit, security audit report from these guys. Okay, all right. Back over here to this one. They are live right here. They're live. So you can go ahead and get yourself some right here. Pump Trump. We are going to give away some, and you can earn MAGA as well. They're doing an airdrop, and we are going to give away some to some lucky people who comment and like this post. I'll repost it again here. Comment and like this post. Give us your Ethereum address, one that can accept the MAGA. Contract is right here. This is the contract. You'll need to add that. Oops, wait a minute. Share this tab instead. I gotta go back here. All right, the contract is right here on my post. You'll need to add that. Make sure to follow Trump and MAGA 0x and myself. Boom. All right, so we're gonna talk more about that. But that's one of the ways that we work together, right? Is in the money, right? So we'll talk more about that in a bit. But it is it is, with what we have going on, it is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So I put out this post yesterday on Trump, and this came with the. Jack. We'll be able to find it with Jack here. Here we go. So I saw this report kind of as it came off the press here. And this is this guy, and no, not really that. I said 69 days before the election, President Trump has been re-indicted by special counsel Jack Smith with a new Washington, D.C. grand jury. Smith, who the Supreme Court pointed out was not even confirmed by Congress, is challenging SCOTUS authority. SCOTUS already said he has immunity. Can we vote our way out of this? Let's listen to this short report. Let's know what it says.
In layman's terms, you need to go back. All right, some news just into us right now where the special counsel Jack Smith has returned what they're calling a superseding indictment against Donald Trump in that D.C. case. It doesn't mean it's more. It just means it's more focused, I guess. Jeff Spunt on all of that right now. Sir.
Yeah, hi, Neil. It is exactly a little bit more focused. In fact, the indictment itself, about 10 pages shorter than the original indictment from last year. So the same four core charges are included on this indictment. The reason that Donald Trump was re-indicted, if you will, is because the Supreme Court came back somewhat in his favor on July 1st of this year, telling Jack Smith, the special counsel, essentially in layman's terms, you need to go back and rethink about your case before District Judge Tanya Chutkan. This was supposed to go to trial on March 4th, but it was delayed because of the Supreme Court. So while all of these four core charges stay here relating to Donald Trump, the man and the candidate, some of the officials like Jeffrey Clark, the former DOJ official, have been taken out. And this is a much more focused indictment. I also want to point out, Neil, that this is dealing with a new grand jury. So this grand jury did not hear anything about the other indictment from last August 1st of 2023. They only heard the facts in this case. What does this mean? Likely we're not going to see any type of trial before the election. Jack Smith, the special counsel, and Donald Trump's lawyers will be in court next week here in Washington, D.C. to talk about the path forward. But really, there would be no path forward unless Jack Smith did this today and really tightened up that indictment. And that's why we are where we are, Neil.
All right, David, thank you.
Craziness, guys. So it's 69 days before the election. It's 69 days before the election, and the Biden-Harris Department of Justice is bringing a case against the by and far frontrunner. You have the arrests of the Durov brothers. I mean, there's just a lot going on here, guys. There is a lot going on, and that's what I was saying here. Let me just. I don't know if we can vote our way out of this. I do not know. I hope so. I hope we vote on November 5th. We have a real vote, and everything's fine. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. And then if it doesn't happen, then what happens? Probably nothing. Right? I don't know. Hopefully it happens. I don't know but the whole thing too big to rig. We still have the magic electronic voting machines. We still have the these mail-in ballots, millions and millions of mail-in ballots floating around. There's like tens of millions or more, hundreds of millions. I don't know. I think there's tens of millions of ballots in like specific states. I got a message from a super PAC, from one of the Trump super PACs. They wanted me to go work for him in Michigan. If anybody of you guys are interested in that, obviously I have the wife and kids and everything else. I'm too expensive for them, I think. But maybe not. We'll see. But if you're interested in that, let me know. Reach out to me. You can reach out to me on X. My DMs are open. They are open. But yeah, big push. I mean, we need more voters. And then we have, it's a worldwide thing. And that's what I always talk about as well, guys. It's worldwide because we have the same people in charge worldwide. We have this cartel, a shadowy cartel. I talked about it yesterday, where you're not even allowed to have your own private conversations, your own private thoughts, your own girlfriend or boyfriend without them knowing. You can't even go to patent something without them knowing. There's like this whole like shroud of you aren't allowed to have any private conversations without this shadowy cartel knowing about it, being able to access it. It's not cool, man. It's not the stuff that we want to do. That's for sure. So the markets are jittery, to say the least. Actually, they keep bumping the stocks, but anyway, Matt's going to tell us more about that. But the global markets are jitters. Oil's down. You got the Houthis have basically taken over I wouldn't say they defeated. That was a title I just looked at as one of the things. The Houthis defeated the U.S. Navy. They basically have not been able to stop this blockade, whether you like it or not. There's rising concerns on the economy. Then the inflation is out there shopping yesterday, and inflation is not going to go. It's not going to go the other way. We're not going to now not all of a sudden not have inflation. So it's yeah. And then is the financial elites control tightening. One of my titles I did yesterday was the noose is tightening. I quoted the post that I put that I just talked about now with Trump and everything on the news. The noose is tightening, but the global elites or the cartels' grip is tightening as well. You can't even have private communication. You can't have private money. You can't do anything without them knowing. It won't last. Let's try to fix it while we're here. Let's talk to the great Matt Dixon. Let's talk the markets.
Hey,
Sir Matt, it's great to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you too. Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Thanks for keeping up on those market reports. It has been absolutely, it's great. It's great to have you. Obviously, it's way better to have you. But to have the recorded market report and to dive in and really see what's going on is.
I think consistency is important. The markets never stop. So whatever happens, we're both the same. We feel we want to give the news when at all length, go to every length to make sure we do it. Quite interesting what you said about the news.
Oops.
Clouds are gathering.
I dropped you off by accident there for a second. It's quite interesting what you said about the news tightening, and then you said the storm clouds are gathering. Is that right?
Yeah, yesterday's title was kind of the storm clouds are gathering, and it's about the economy, really. Things are looking a little bit concerning, and you mentioned inflation. I've been on X this morning, and I'll just go in fact, let me share my screen a moment, and we'll just go to my X account. Let's just see. Yeah, so that should be shared, and I'll just go over to I'll flip straight over to
Bitcoin.
X account. That's Bitcoin. We'll come back to that. Here's X. This is the PCE. It's out in a couple of days' time. I think it's the 30th of August, so only a couple of days' time now. Now you can see here an expectation of a rise in PCE. Now this, bear in mind, the Fed, and remember last Friday, Jerome Powell came out saying we're likely to see lower rates and we're looking forward to lower rates ahead. And yet we're seeing inflation potentially ticking higher. This is the PCE, the Fed's preferred measure of inflation, going to be reported in a couple of days' time, looking like an increase from 2.6 to 2.7. Now, you might not think that's a big deal, but just look at what's happened for the past year. Every single month, without fail, the PCE measure it's either remained the same or it's come down. It hasn't gone up at all in the past year, and yet we're expecting an increase in PCE. This at the same time, the Fed are talking about lowering rates. So something doesn't add up here, and this is why there's uncertainty in the markets right now. And there's effectively a bit of confusion in the markets. Not to say it's disaster. As I said yesterday, I think storm clouds are gathering, and I am a little bit concerned about what lies ahead for us. But from a chart perspective, I still do expect some positive moves in the not too distant future. So important to just to look at that. That's it's a big deal. This PCE measure. Let's just see what it comes out at on. I think it's Friday, isn't it? Is it? I lose track. Traveling so much, you lose track. I think it's Wednesday today.
Today's Wednesday. Yep.
Yeah. So coming out Friday. So we definitely need to keep an eye on that, see how things are going. Now, another thing I looked at, which again will go to the usual charts, but I often use wave basis. It has this automated wave count. I actually quite like it. If anybody's interested, do DM me on my X account at MD Trade. I can get you a discount access if you want it, but you don't have to. I can post whenever I feel it's appropriate. But here, what I've done, I put Bitcoin against gold. So Bitcoin is the top chart, gold is the bottom chart. Now, this is over quite a long period of time. It goes back to, basically to the FTX crisis, November of 2022, when we saw the FTX low for Bitcoin of 15,500-ish. And so we can see the Bitcoin has risen massively, really, since then, from 15,000 to right now it's above 60,000. So it's gone up 4x. Pretty amazing. And we can see that gold has also gone up massively. So at that time, the FTX low, it was around $1,800, $1,822, and it's now over $2,500. So they've both gone up dramatically. Bitcoin, of course, in percentage terms, much more. 4x for Bitcoin, and from 1,800 to 2,600 it's still 2,500. It's still good. It's still 30%, isn't it? Somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So 30% against 400%. But what I want to show really is over that long period of time, they've moved roughly in the same direction. This is an indication that Bitcoin has taken on more of a safe haven status. It's more like digital gold, and it's performed in the long term a bit like gold. You can see there's pretty good correlation, really, can't you? Both charts are reasonably similar, but just bear with me a moment where I want to focus on the recent price movement, because we can see that whilst gold has risen and Bitcoin has risen since the recent high, where was it, around this level here, since the recent high, there's been a bit of a divergence, and that's telling you that there's still some big differences between gold and oil. So I'll just stretch out this chart to the recent price there. And we'll stretch out this one as well, so they both match as best I can. See, February, March, just a little bit more to go. That's it. So those now, they're both starting March of this year. So this is from the recent high. And in fact, remember, we got the ETF on Bitcoin in, I think it's January the 10th of this year. So shortly after that, we can see Bitcoin has basically been tailing off all that time, hasn't it? I mean, look at it from early in the year. This is from March time. Bitcoin has been kind of tailing off from a previous all-time high of 74,000-ish, 73,000 and something here. I think it's 73,666 or something. It's been basically dropping off. But that, I'm comforted by the fact it does appear to be very corrective in nature, an awful lot of overlap there. But basically what I want to focus on is it's trending down for this over that period of time, whereas gold, over exactly the same period of time, starting exactly the same point in time, we can see the times there, 14th of March, they line up. So basically those charts are aligned, and yet we can see that whilst gold has been consistently increasing in value, and again, from this point here, we had gold at 2,000 and it's gone to 2,500, so it's gone up 25%. Whereas in the same time, Bitcoin has gone from 73 down to 60, so it's gone down, quite a big percentage. So we see now some divergence between gold and between Bitcoin. And this is to do with the economic uncertainty that we're experiencing at the moment. This is what Bruce is talking about, and what I'm talking about with storm clouds gathering. And the markets recognize this uncertainty. They recognize that PCE is potentially going to rise on Friday, whereas we're talking about lower interest rates, which just doesn't match. It's incongruous. You cannot lower interest rates when the inflation rate is rising. It's just not done. It would tempt massive inflation, whilst we're actually seeing potential economic contraction. So potentially stagflation. This is the one thing that the central banks fear above all things. They cannot deal with stagflation. So when they had deflation with depression, effectively slowing economic growth, they lower interest rates. As we know, they not only lowered interest rates, they took interest rates to negative. So you actually had to pay for the privilege of depositing your money. You actually had to pay them for it, not the other way around.
Yeah.
And they printed money almost ad infinitum. They printed money like crazy. So they can do something when the economy is slowing and stalling. And we had 2008 crash, and they printed money to bail us out, as it were. As Bruce and I often say, it's not bailing out really. It's actually just covering up the cracks, storing up problems for later. That's what we're always talking about. So they had that in 2008. They also had it during COVID, and it was their way to stimulate the economy. They just create a load of money out of thin air, throw it into the economy, and unfortunately, the rich people get richer and the poor people struggle. Doesn't help overall. It creates unrest in the long term. It's not a good solution, but it's what they chose to do. But we're now seeing the results of that, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I'm trying to think of a nice way to put it. That's why I'm stuck for words. But anyway, their policies.
The quantitative easing, I think that's what they decided there was the nice way of putting it.
That's the nice way to put it. Quantitative easing, printing money, that policy is now coming home to roost. Effectively, now what it did, it created money in the economy, so it creates inflation in the economy, but genuinely, economists will tell you, academics will tell you, it does not have a good multiplier effect in the economy. This is basic economic theory that these guys at the Fed, everybody should know about. They do know about. I've studied this at university years ago, so they know about it. The academics know that printing money does not create genuine economic growth, not long-term. It just covers the cracks. If you want genuine economic growth, there's a lot of other things that you can do. But they were desperate, and it's all political, and no politician wants to have bad things happen on their watch. So they'll do whatever it takes to cover up the ugliness of the economy. And they'll do some fake things, as far as I'm concerned, fake, like printing money. So we're seeing now gold going from strength to strength because of economic uncertainty. And we're seeing even Bitcoin, which is a kind of digital gold, but it's still not taken on that full safe haven status. Even though we have the Bitcoin ETF, it is still not, hasn't taken on that safe haven status. So we continue to see gold rise higher and higher. Remember I said that was at or thereabouts wave 3 on gold, and we've got a wave 4 underway, and we'll get another wave 5 to the upside. This tells me that we're not yet at the ultimate high for gold. So we had a big wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. It's got a question mark there. It's telling us that wave 3 may not actually be over. There may even be further to go on wave 3 before we have wave 4 and 5. And that actually equates precisely with my analysis that I've been sharing with you over the past days and weeks, and we'll revisit that in a moment. But this is a big deal, the fact that Bitcoin is diverging from gold. It tells you there is real uncertainty now in the economy, amongst economists. What are the Fed going to do about rising inflation with potentially declining growth? It's a big, big problem. So let's jump into today's charts. We'll come back to gold, but we'll just look at Bitcoin in isolation at the moment. It is, we've had a nasty couple of days. Obviously, we had Pavel Durov was arrested in France, the Telegram co-founder, and he's obviously
massive news for crypto, freedom, everything, world markets.
It is massive news, and I know I mentioned yesterday, I'm sure Bruce will have a lot to say about this because it does have implications on freedom of speech, but I do also think that the social media platforms should be doing a lot more to protect. I mean, I know, from firsthand experience, scam groups, and I've heard loads and loads of stories about scam groups going out there, copying people's social media profiles and everything, almost identically, and scamming people out of a lot of money. they should do more about this, especially when I know from personal experience that we've reported groups over and over and over again, reported them and blocked them, and Telegram have done nothing to moderate this, even though they have multiple reports from people who've been scammed. So they need to do more. Bear in mind, they're making an awful lot of money. It's only fair that they should moderate a bit. I'm not talking about curtailing free speech. Free speech should definitely be allowed. But when there's clear criminal activity that is reported, they're making so much money, they need to do something more about it. So there's definitely two sides to this story, in my book anyway. So that's from personal experience. So this Bitcoin, anyway, let's just look at Bitcoin. I do think we're, like we said well, anyway, we're looking at a wave 3 high there. That was the all-time high. Here was a Bitcoin ETF launched back on January 10th. After the launch, we had a buy the rumor, sell the news. That's usually the case. It's just such a common saying, but so often it comes true, doesn't it?
So I mean, it's like a textbook.
Absolutely textbook, yeah. And we had, it is absolute textbook here. So we saw the peak here, and then we sold off, buy the rumor, sell the news, precisely. Then following that sell the news event, we had nice 5 waves up here, which gave us the top of a wave 3 on Bitcoin, and that took us to the all-time high for Bitcoin of 73,600 or whatever it was, somewhere around 73.6. So that itself was made up of 5 waves. Interestingly, we've got a small wave 1 here, another wave 2 back. Then wave 3 was precisely 4.236. Now that is a precise Fibonacci extension. I won't go into it now, but you can work it out. It is actually a perfect Fibonacci number there. And it's perfectly common as well with cryptocurrency, because crypto tends to go to the more extreme extensions. The first one, of course, is the 1.618. That's at this level here. That's more common in traditional assets, which are less volatile. When you're looking at more volatile assets, you tend to go to the bigger extensions. So on from 1.618, the next one is 2.618, which again, we very often sail through that. And here we went to 4.236, which is the next true Fibonacci extension. So that's perfectly normal, reasonable, and it's just nice. It's perfect for wave 3. You couldn't get a better wave 3 there. That's absolutely spot on. Textbook, as Bruce says. And then we've got a wave 4 and a wave 5. That gives us a larger wave 3. And then the wave 4 itself is made up of some waves here, A, B, C, D, E. That tells us it is either a wave 4 or a wave B. It cannot be a wave 2. That's not allowed within the rules. So I'm assuming it's actually a wave 4 here. And then we have wave 5 to come. Wave 5 should take us above the previous all-time high of 73.6 or 73, whatever it was, 73,000 and something. I'll find out the precise because I'm tired of guessing. I've got 73,835 here as the all-time high for Bitcoin. So the current move should at some point take us above that previous high of 73,800 odd to new all-time highs. And I would not be surprised to see it hit a nice Fibonacci extension at around 84,000. I'll just whiz back to the wave basis one and just show you what they actually expect. You can see here, if I hover over the previous wave, you can see their expectation in the pink box that it highlights above the price there. And their pink box price is between 82 and 86,000. So that accords precisely with my expectation of 84,000 for the next wave up. So quite nice when you get agreement.
84 is a nice move.
Yeah, it'd be a very nice move. Nice to get agreement between, do your own independent analysis, use some automated analysis like wave basis, and when they agree perfectly, it's quite a nice confirmation. Yep. So there's still room for uncertainty though, and what I've done, I put a couple of risk levels in. The reason I call them risk levels, they're support levels at the moment. Prices above these levels, and potentially these levels could produce or provide support for the price, and price could bounce off them. Now, the first support level, I've got basically from this wave 4 in red, I've counted 5 waves up to give us a larger wave 1 in blue here. Then we've got some kind of WXY move down in wave 2. Now, that could be the completed correction down. It is possible that we have some kind of expanded flat correction of a 335 down. So we could potentially, it's theoretically allowable to move lower. But at the moment, because we never have certainty, we use risk reward. No trade is ever certain. And so you have to use risk reward. So my risk for this trade right now would be, if it drops below this level, I'd want to use a stop loss to close my trade. Because if it drops below this level, the next support below that is the previous low here, the end of the triangle. Now, in my book, it should not drop below that level. So that would be the next risk reward. So if I've got a long trade on anywhere from, these spikes down, anywhere around now even, my stop loss would be just below this dotted line here, the previous low that we had on the 15th of August. So you can check back and see the low price on the 15th of August for Bitcoin. That would be the low price there, would be just below there, would be where my stop loss is. And there's every chance that we're going to move higher. That would give us, from this wave 4, we'd have wave 1 up in blue, 2 down in blue. Then the smaller time frame, 1 up in red, 2 down in red. Then we get what's called wave 3 of wave 3 in blue. That should be extremely aggressive. A little bit like the big wave 3 of 3 here. You can see lots of green, solid green candles, really impulsive to the upside. That's what we'd expect. If this count is correct as 1, 2, 1, 2, when you get wave 3 of 3, it's normally extremely aggressive to the upside. So there's a real possibility of that happening, and it could align. Maybe we'll get some better news out of it. I think we're going to get, if you want to ask me, we're not going to get a bad PCE. We're going to get a good PCE, at least in line or possibly even lower than expectation. That would give the market the fuel it needs to push higher. So that's my hope. That's my expectation for PCE. The market is expecting it to tick up. I expect it to be stable or tick down. Either way, that would be positive. So let's just see. Friday is a big, big day for the markets. So for now, they're going to be treading water. They're going to be choppy. There's going to be a negative feel to the markets until we get those inflation figures, those PCE figures out on Friday. So that's what we're going to have to endure and navigate and be patient about for the time being. So as I say, here's the strong support, which is the bottom of the triangle. If we break below that, then this triangle count is wrong somehow. I need to revisit and look at it. But at the moment, it looks good because the movement up here is clearly impulsive with no overlapping waves. And the movement down here is clearly overlapping. And by that, I mean this movement down here is overlapped by this movement up here very substantially, and even by this movement up here. So all this overlap means it's a corrective move down. It's against the overall trend. The overall trend is still to the upside. That's really positive BTC. Same goes for Ethereum. I mean, I'll just touch on it very quickly. Ethereum, again, very similar situation. And in fact, I did do a comparison. I've done it before anyway, between Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're actually tracking each other really closely. Where one goes, the other goes. Maybe not the same magnitude in percentage terms, but they're moving in the same sort of direction. So it's no surprise to me that Ethereum is probably looking corrective to the downside, and there's real potential for a powerful blast to the upside. Powerful, taking us from where we are now at 2,500 to potentially well above this this peak here of over 4,000. So
almost 5,000. Which peak are you looking at?
Just on this chart, the peak on this particular chart. We should actually go way above that, to be honest. Once the market really gets going, we should go way above that 4,090 or whatever it was. That peak on this chart should go way above it, because this appears to be a corrective move down. So the next move higher, when it takes hold, should take us above that previous high here. We may, I think, at least challenge the previous all-time high, which I think from memory was about 4,008. We can just check that.
It was darn close, near to five grand, whatever.
Yeah, 4,858 I've got here as the previous all-time high for Ethereum. And this is the big longer-term chart that I focused on a little bit yesterday, basically telling us that we've, from the A wave down, working on a B wave up. So the B wave, let me just see. Sorry, we've got an A wave up. A wave down, B wave up. This could be. There's still a couple of ways of looking at it. It could be this could be a big A, B, and C to give us the B wave, or it could be an impulsive count 1, 2, 3. Because interestingly, I'm just saying this move down here did not overlap this move up here. So there's still two ways to count it. And this is actually what I was focusing on yesterday. I remember clearly now. It could be 5 waves up, or it could work out into a 3-wave move. We just need to watch the price action. But either way, whichever you look at it, whether you're bullish or bearish, long term, currently in the medium term, we're expecting higher to, I believe probably at least overtake that high that we just mentioned of 4,050 something. So at least overtake that and probably challenge the previous all-time high of 4,800. So whichever way you look at it, that's the way I think it's going. Here's gold that we looked at. I do think we're at a short-term peak, and again, we saw on wave basis that potentially we're at the top of some kind of wave 3. We'll get a wave 4 down, further wave 5 to the upside. So gold isn't finished. It's been on that uptrend that we noticed. Again, just flipping back to wave basis, you can see on the bottom chart here, this is gold. See, it's been moving consistently higher. And I think it's got a wave 3 there just before my wave 3, but virtually the same place. You then expect wave 4 and wave 5 to take you higher again on gold. So I'm still really bullish on gold. Although short term, I believe we have regular bearish divergence in place where we've got certainly higher highs on price, but we've got definitely lower highs on the RSI. Doesn't matter, that's not aligned perfectly. I think I was looking at the daily for this. Yeah, that's right, looking at the daily. But even on the daily, you can see higher highs on price, lower highs on RSI. At every one of these peaks, we had divergence. This is telling you that the market is getting a little bit exhausted on gold, that would be moving consistently higher and higher and higher. And every time we get a sell-off, it rebounds higher and higher again. Now, that situation can continue, but it is a warning sign that basically these highs are not being followed by volume in the market. So they're not being backed by volumes. This is kind of telling you that it's retailers who are currently pushing the price higher, and the big market movers, the market makers, and the big institutions are not chasing this move higher. They're probably taking profits at every one of these peaks where there's divergence. They're taking profits. So I'd still think, even if you're a retailer and you're pushing the price higher, I think we've definitely still got higher to go. Even if we get a correction, I wouldn't personally be overly worried, because it should just be a correction against this upward trend, and we should again push to new all-time highs for gold. So I'm pretty positive on gold there. Oil, which tends to be correlated with the gold, we're getting a bit of a pullback on oil. It's not really gone, percentage terms, yes, it's moved. It appears to be corrective up and corrective down, so there's no clear direction there at the moment. There's a bit of political tension, as Bruce was saying, with the Houthis. Although a lot of oil transport is now diverted away from the, from the Red Sea. And
I think as well that, if they do this every election year, price of oil, price of gas comes down. They don't want those people going and filling up their tanks with a high cost. That's it. It's back under like $3. I'm paying like two something.
I mean, you can see really. Yeah, you can see the reason why. I mean, it's not long ago now, is it? I mean, it's admittedly, I suppose it's 18 months ago, something like, is it 18 months, 23? Anyway, whatever it is, a bit over 18 months perhaps. But the high there that we had on oil of $129, we're now at $74. So we're not a long way off half price on oil. So it's come down an awful lot. And we can see, even if you look quite recently, less than a year ago, it's come from $94 to $74. So that's still almost 25%, or is it over 25%? It's 25%-ish. In the last year, it's come down. So you would expect prices at the pump to come down. That tells you that they have done a lot to tackle inflation. Inflation has come down a lot, but it's still a problem. Still way above the Fed's preferred target rate, which is 2%. We just looked at PCE likely coming at about 2.7%. So inflation is still way above target. The dollar itself is showing, again, some mixed signs here. We can see here we have basically some regular bullish divergence telling you that dollar is likely to pick up, but we don't have any real signs of that turnaround. Just recently, dollar has been falling in value quite sharply. It's unusual that we see the dollar, the strength of the dollar going, well, actually correlating pretty much with the risk asset markets. Normally it goes against, and normally they're inversely correlated. We're seeing a bit of correlation. We've seen Bitcoin come down, and we've seen the the dollar price come down as well. When I say the dollar price, the value of the dollar against other currencies, that was spawned initially by the unwinding of the yen carry trade. So there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going on behind the scenes here. And the unwinding of the yen carry trade was a negative thing for risk assets, which is why we have actually seen, rather than the usual inverse correlation, we've actually seen some correlation. So you do need to take account of other things going on in the economy, all the different moving parts. Sometimes these correlations can break down. So never get fixed into the idea that different assets are directly correlated at all times. You still need to take into account other factors. I'll touch briefly on Solana. Again, Solana looks like it's had a really powerful impulsive move to the upside. I think you can see for yourselves, this is pretty well choppy, corrective, sideways movement. Looking to me as though it's actually complete as an A, a B, and a C. And we can see that B wave itself was made up of smaller A, B, C here. So I actually think that the correction is complete down here. It's not guaranteed it's complete, but it's likely it's complete. We didn't reach 100% of this first move down, the A wave. 100% of it would actually be quite a bit lower on Solana at $103. I don't think we're going to reach that level. I actually think we bottomed at this price here when we reached $109 something, $109.50 or $110, whatever it was, down here. And I think we moved up impulsively. We may potentially move a little bit lower, but I still think that we're going to head to new highs. First of all, a little bit like Ethereum, first of all, above the local high. Now, if you remember Ethereum, the local high was 4,050 something. And I think that equates with this Solana high of $210. So remember, Ethereum, whilst the local high was 4,050, the all-time high was 4,800. So the equivalent for Solana here, the local high is 209, but the previous all-time high was 258. So I think those two are very much in lockstep in terms of local highs and all-time highs. So the next move higher, because this is corrective, we should get a move up. It should certainly take us above the local high. And this is precisely what I just told you about Ethereum. We should go above the local high, which on Solana here is $209. And we should approach and at least challenge the previous all-time high of $258 or $259 for Solana. So I'm actually, as you can probably see, very bullish on these markets medium term, even though we've got the concerns about inflation. As I say, I actually think the Fed probably know more than we do in terms of the actual figures. They probably know exactly what PCE is going to be. My guess is PCE is going to come in line or weaken expectations, even though the market expectation is for higher inflation. I expect the opposite. Let's see. That's going to be really interesting. Just a couple of days wait for that, and that will be the next driver for the market, either up or down. So, be careful.
I mean, they know, right? I mean, obviously they know. The insiders know what it's going to be. They also know how important the numbers are, and they know the numbers they're going to put out. Is what I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think we can't leave without touching on Toncoin, really. Ton, I mentioned it a few times on social media appearances, but also on my X feed and everything as well, that we've basically, I think, had a wave 4 down. Here's the spike down for wave 4. It's a little bit like some of the assets. Here's the spike down. This is the risk level. I don't expect it to go beyond this level. And that's why I thought it was a great buy opportunity when we dipped down the other day. And I came out straight away saying, I'm thinking that Toncoin is going to bounce back really nicely. It has bounced back so far very, very well. There's no absolute certainty that the down move is complete, but I think it's risk is below this dotted line here, of course. That's the risk of your trade. But the upside is to new all-time highs for Toncoin. So basically, there's lots more upside than downside. So you can do a trade, protect your downside, bearing in mind, if it does go to the downside, you know exactly what your loss will be. So you need to size up your trade to make sure it's a loss that you can potentially bear if it were to go against you. But we can see here the potential downside, if you call that 1 unit, potential upside here is a minimum 3 to 4 units. So you've got a minimum 3 to 1 risk reward ratio, even if you're to jump in now, although you've been better jumping in the other day when I said, when I came out and said this is a good time to buy, your risk reward would have probably been at that time probably 8 to 1. So timing is very, very important. When you see these things happening and you've got a good, the risk was clearly defined by this low here. If you jumped in at the lows when we said the other day, then as I say, you'd have had probably an 8 to 1 risk reward. Get 8 to 1 risk reward, you only need to get 1 in 8 right, and you're making money. So,
yep.
And so you can do 8
well, it's an amazing thing. I mean, I don't think that Ton as a blockchain had really planned to be, front and center in this worldwide monetary revolution, but now they are. And if they are able to emerge out of this strong, then it was already one of the biggest ones. I mean, top 10 in the world. But if they're able to tackle this and come out, they've added so much name recognition and so many more fans to their base. They could come out.
What you said is absolutely true, Bruce, because I look at TA and charts here, but actually I've also had a look in at the on-chain metrics for Toncoin, and the number of holders of Toncoin have absolutely exploded. So you know what they say often? They say any news is good news. Even if it's bad news, sometimes it's good news. It just brings awareness. And the number of holders, on-chain holders, have grown massively with Toncoin. So it's largely an institutionally held token. There's big institutional holders. There's big whales within Toncoin, but there are more and more and more retailers jumping in now. As I say, on-chain holders numbers have absolutely exploded. So this bad news is not necessarily quite so bad.
And that's like what it's all about. Obviously the big, we see with the ETFs and everything like that, that can make major moves, guys. But the reality of a cryptocurrency, the reality of a currency is it needs to be used, and you need users. And if you have users, then you don't need the ETFs, right? That's how Bitcoin didn't have any ETFs for its whole life up until a few months ago. And it had all this massive value. It's the user base. It's the people using the currency. It's current. And that's what we could be looking at with Toncoin. I'm hoping for him. I'm still bullish. But it's a crazy situation.
Yeah, Toncoin, of course, does have massive community with Telegram. Massive. I don't think this will go very far, these charges. I don't think they'll go very far. I think it will blow over because every social media platform has these issues of criminal activity. That is a fact.
Like, what are you going to say? I'm sure there's guys selling pot and everything else on X too, on Facebook, absolutely. On WhatsApp. Come on, guys. You know what I mean? Like, people using the US dollar, using euro.
It's going to end up being a slap on the wrist, and maybe they'll put a few measures in place. There needs to be a few measures in place. I don't think there's any argument about that. But I do think, whilst whatever you think of the guy, you can have your own thoughts of Pavel Durov, whatever you think of him, he has really stood up for free speech.
Yes.
And, he was...
And against government censorship.
Absolutely against government censorship. So there's, it would cause absolute uproar if they
were to give him like 20 years or something like that. I think that would be the straw that broke the camel's back. And yeah. And as we've been around for a little while now, right? They usually make sure that they don't break the straw.
Don't break the camel's back, even.
Yeah, exactly. They don't. They usually, there you go. They usually make sure they don't break the camel's back. Like, you know what I mean? They make a big thing, then this, that, and the other, and then they tell him he pays $1 billion or a few $1 million or whatever it is, and then they let him go. And he's scared anyway. I'm sure they're giving him all kinds of stuff. I don't know this. All right, it's just totally conjecture. But I would think that they're giving him all kinds of truth pills and everything else, and asking him, interrogating him, and everything else in there. I don't know if there's truth to the story that Macron actually invited him out there, and he was supposed to have dinner with him that night. But that is the rumor.
Yeah, This reminds me of all these insider dealing cases that happened some time ago. And Steve Cohen effectively walked out. He paid a big fine, as you say. I think it was a very heavy fine, but for him, it's not the end of the world. He's still worth more than 10 billion or something. So it was effectively a slap on the wrist, and then things just carried on as they ever did. All the cases against insider trading were actually, most of them were overturned. All the people's jail sentences were overturned. So I think it's actually probably in the interests of the big institutions and so on to keep these things going. A lot of people make a lot of money out of the social media platforms. So I think they just need to show they're trying to do something, or they're potentially doing something, but in fact, they're just making noise. And I don't think there'll be any long-term impact here. And this is why, another reason I'm saying Toncoin, I think, has a bright future ahead. And we've actually come up quite nicely from the low. The low there was 5.02. As I say, very, very interesting and important. It didn't break that low of August the 5th, which was $4.70. We didn't break that. So we stayed.
And that was with the unwinding of the yen carry trade and everything else. I mean, that was the global market meltdown.
Yeah. So we've gone from 5 to 5.5. So we're up 10% actually just since the sell-off. So it's rebounding nicely. Let's hope that rebound continues. And maybe that'll be what gives the market a bit of stimulus if if Pavel Durov is released and there's no as you say, maybe a slap on the wrist, then that give the market a bit of fuel to push higher. And I do think, Toncoin in correlation with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, with a lot of the others, Solana, should push to new. I think it's going to push a new all-time high very soon.
Yep.
So looking good across the markets. Today so far is a reasonably positive day. The only ones in red so far, we've got Solana just fractionally in red, but at 0.04%, so it's nothing. Gold and oil down a little bit. Most of the market's up nicely in the green, so looking good across the board. I think that's a good start to the good midweek anyway. We've had a bit of a push down, but as I say, importantly, let's watch out for Friday for that PCE news. That's the next big news item on the agenda, I think. We'll have a show before that, of course. Let you know what our expectations are.
Amazing. Well, Matt, it is always a pleasure. I'm glad you're back safe.
Yeah, my pleasure. Hope it's helpful. I enjoy enjoy sharing all the news. As I say, I've said many times before, I think we've been very accurate with our calls.
No doubt.
May it continue. Long may it continue.
May it continue. All right, brother.
Good.
Talk soon.
Thanks, Bruce. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers. The great Matt Dixon with market report. Absolutely world class. It is world class what we get here. And we are, of course, as I mentioned, building out the new site. So we'll have more ways for you to participate in a lot of this stuff. I know it's you see the market moves. You have a 10% market move on something like TON or whatever, and a 10% market move is not abnormal in this space, and that you can make a lot of money with that, especially if you put a little leverage. Even if you go 2x leverage, 10% then is 20%. You got to be careful putting your stop losses and stuff, because you will absolutely get wiped out. I know firsthand. I know Matt knows firsthand as well as those things can go. So you want to be careful. But even if you're just trading, 10% move is great. Just take your stack, in and out, or buy the dips, dollar cost average. If you think that the markets are going to go up, if you believe that the central banks are going to keep printing money and the markets are going to go up, then you're probably going to want to buy the dips, right? Buy the dips. So pretty interesting stuff we have today. Of course, Trump will be out. We have now with RFK with RFK Jr. now and Trump together. I mean, gosh, and I said it yesterday, but oh my gosh, can you imagine if that was the ticket? If it was RFK Jr. Donald Trump, oh my gosh, it feels like that's the ticket now. It feels like that's the ticket. RFK Jr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., whose father Robbie Kennedy was assassinated, whose uncle John F. Kennedy was assassinated. is such a star that there's you have Trump and you have RFK, and it's like you can't even notice anything else. Like, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, really, to have a Kennedy, to have RFK. And also, it's just not, I mean, his father was assassinated, his uncle was assassinated. I mean, we're talking about a very historic figure. And he comes out and he's gonna tell us about the chemtrails, and he's gonna do this and that. And man, I'll tell you what, I just hope we can make it over the finish line and keep everybody alive. Okay, I think that's a really important, obviously, very important factor here. So we do have our friends over here at the MAGA coin here. Okay, so I'm gonna repost my post here on X. Let me just share my screen. Is that right? Share my screen, and then I gotta get the kids to school. The kids are back in school. Okay, here we are. I responded to this guy. It's all kinds of fun repost, right? Okay. So, hey guys, as you know, Trump has a solid hype at MAGA. At MAGA on X is what that means. MAGA, Trump MAGA 0x, at Trump MAGA 0x is launching MAGA on X. They just launched about an hour ago. If that's the movement, don't miss out on this big opportunity. This is the first time working with this team. They seem to have good plans to push. So I'm giving away some MAGA tokens. As I promised, I'm giving away some MAGA tokens to 3 lucky people, to 3 lucky winners. You need to follow Trump MAGA OX. You need to follow me, retweet, like, and share your Trump MAGA.me thoughts. Winners are announced on the Impact Show in the morning. I don't know if we're actually going to get to announce them right now because things moved quite fast for us here. But here we are. What I want you to do is put your Ethereum address underneath the post. I'm going to go back here. It's like sitting at the top of my feed. So I want you to put your Ethereum address with a screenshot. Okay, you do a screenshot of following both accounts with your Ethereum address, and I'm going to send you some MAGA coins. I'm going to send you some MAGA tokens. MAGA coin. Winners will be announced on the Impact Money Show. Maybe we'll touch that again on that tomorrow. Here's the contract address right here. Make sure that you have the contract address. What I'll do is I will take the DEX screener here, and I'll post it below as well. By MAGA today. Here's the DEX screener. Boom. Oops. I don't know why my computer does that these days. It like automatically changes the. Here we go. All right. Here's the DEX screener. Bam. Okay. So that's underneath the post. Make sure you comment it, like it, follow both of us, send your Ethereum address. I see we have some here. Buy some MAGA. And then let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Nice movement here. Let me just I'll share my screen here. Boom, boom. We just got another buy there as it comes in. This is just launched about at 6 a.m. Okay, this just launched at 6 a.m. The link is right underneath it, and you can just go right here and you go, am I on? Just want to make sure I'm on the right screen. Yes, I am. You go right over here and you go trade on Uniswap. Okay. And that'll open up your Uniswap. Okay. I don't think I have it set up on this browser because that's how I roll. And guys, let's make America great again. It is always a pleasure, always a lot of fun, guys. Really appreciate it. Hats off to the Smart Money Culture TV network as well. On TV in Texas and Louisiana, as well as streaming around the world live. Cheers, guys.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.